Okay, so I thought I better make a video since I now have 33 subscribers. I thought, it's been a while. So thanks everyone for actually subscribing to my very rudimentary videos. I do apologize that the sound quality and the picture quality isn't wonderful. I'm working on it. I will get a camera, so it's not this grainy thing that I have going on right now. And I do have a microphone now, so hopefully that helps. But anyway, why am I making a video? I kind of wanted to make a video talking about what I've discovered so far on this journey, being me, and hopefully that ignites and inspires something within you in terms of your journey and what we know here and what we don't know about this collective situation that we're all experiencing in this reality field. So yeah, there's a lot of different theories out there, a lot of conspiracies, a lot of speculation, of course, and there's a very divisive thing going on currently in this zeitgeist of the time. I find you've got people over here saying, you know, the earth is this shape, these ones are saying that, or whatever. You know, there's all these dichotomies, these splits between belief systems, and certain schools of thought can almost become dogma because this cult-like thinking comes in. So I don't ask you to take anything I say, you know, as word, you know, just use your own discernment. I just want to explain what I've experienced as an individual, being who I am, and it's up to you to make up your mind to whether or not that resonates. It may or may not. So for me personally, I've had a very unusual life. I have touched upon this before, and I'm not going to go into full detail of it, but something that has been bestowed upon me is the gift of sight. And it's something that's developed throughout my life. It's always been there, but it took a lot of confidence and confirmation to actually go, oh, this is real. This is not just my imagination. Yes, the imagination plays a part, but I guess you could say if I was around thousands of years ago in, say, my ancestral lineage of Nordic culture or Celtic culture, I would have been a seeress or a volva. I definitely have these abilities to see. And I've had these very uncanny, strange confirmations. I see, but I can also feel. But at this stage of my abilities and my development, it comes when it comes. So I'm not currently marketing it as something that I do to make money, like a lot of people out there that say I'm a clairvoyant or a psychic or whatever, and they're running a business with that lens. Personally, I don't feel my abilities are able to be just turned on at will yet. Maybe that will develop as I age. This is one premonition I had, that as time goes on, as I develop my own abilities as an individual and self-actualize myself, build up more inner strength, you know, heal my body, and as I mature, my abilities would become more amplified. But I still don't feel confident having somebody just come to me and them saying to me, hey, give me a reading, without the aid of another modality. I do use these abilities when I do my healing work, with, you know, body work, intuitive body work, and kinesiology. The intuition part is just part and parcel with that. And also when I read the tarot, and I am looking to incorporating the tarot and kinesiology together, because I feel they can be amalgamated with these abilities. But that's a work in progress, but that's not where I'm going right now. What I'm trying to say is I've been gifted with this ability, and I feel some of the things I'm shown aren't just for my personal insight or just for another individual. Yes, I do have these things happen to me where I'm showing things for my own benefit or for others. And yeah, when you are clairvoyant or psychic, often you're not able to see things for your own benefit unless it's a danger and it's attempting to warn you of something really important, give you a heads up on things. I have had that, but more so I've been shown things for the collective, and that's why I'm sharing this video, and that's why I'm speaking out, because I feel it wouldn't be right of me to have these what I call profound visions and not share them, especially when it relates to a lot of what others have seen and felt and researched. So there's many parallels, even with the popular culture, but the mythologies and what a lot of individuals have been teaching. There's many parallels with what I've been shown. So yeah, that's why I feel it's important. One of the ways I'm transmitted information is via the dream realm. So I can discern. I do have my own personal dreams, which I don't very often share with others, only close people. So I'll have my personal dreams, which are me deeply working things out on a philosophical, psychological, emotional level. And we all have these dreams, any of you that actually dream. And then I have these precognitive dreams. They can be sometimes about me or about someone else. So they're a little bit different. And sometimes I feel compelled to tell someone about these precognitive dreams if it involves them. And then I have more mediumistic dreams where I've had different deceased individuals come to me. This isn't as often as some people that are mediumistic, but I have had it. And it's not a realm that I'm really opening myself to very often. But yeah, some deceased individuals have come to me, including some quite well-known ones. But that's another story as well. The other dreams I have are more like a serious vision where I'm shown something and it's clear as day. And it's like I'm watching something on a film or a movie or something like this. And it's photographically just acute, absolutely superbly clear. And even many years later, the dream is etched in my mind in that photographic way. And I just want to add, my other dreams aren't usually like that. They come and go. I do write some dreams down. And I've got books where I'll go back and I'll read things I've written down and go, oh, wow, you know, I forgot I had that dream. But with these dreams, and these have particularly happened since 2019, 2020, they've become very potent. There were a few prior to that, but the ones I want to touch upon have been over the last few years. And they have correlated with a lot of work that I've done on myself, certain connections I've made, certain transmissions I've had of information in waking life. So this may or may not relate to you. You may or may not have resonance with this, but I know there are people out there that will resonate with this. And I have shared some of these dreams with individuals and they've really got something from it. So that's why I feel I'm going to share this. And I've already shared the dragon dreams in that prior video. So yeah, these ones, wow, where do we start? In 2020, as we know, it was a challenging year. Here in Australia, we had some very alarming fires to start the year that didn't seem very natural. And I felt something was brewing then. This is part of my ability as well. Sometimes I can feel things coming, you know, not always, but I could feel something brew up. And I was actually out there stocking up on stuff before any of the other stuff happened, because I just had this feeling like things could get quite intense. So I bought a whole heap of rice and lentils and canned food back in late 2019. But before the Rona word was even mentioned, right? And then all that started to come through and I could see where it was going as well. I can't see everything, you know, this is I'm not claiming that I'm this amazing psychic that sees everything that's coming. I really don't. This just certain things come, I get certain feelings. And just to digress, another example of these feelings of feeling something come, I shared this in another video about when my father was killed. I think the moment it actually happened, he was murdered, I was going out to my clothesline to hang out some washing, and I actually felt it. I felt my whole stomach drop, and I felt like I'd been hit by just something quite intense and full on. It was not a normal feeling, and I've never had a feeling like that since. So yeah, this is just an example. Another time with my mother, I was interstate, and I just got this full-on feeling I needed to call my mum. It was almost like this heart-dropping feeling. And I called her, and yeah, she just broken this amazing like marble table she had, and she was really upset about it. So yeah, I tuned into her energy. And also when my sister had a baby, I knew the exact moment the baby was born. I knew that she was in labor, even though I was interstate. So these are examples of kind of feeling things. But in terms of these dreams, yeah, 2020, I digressed a bit there. I had this dream, right, where there were a whole heap of individuals all over the world. And we were all making an effort to really step into our full potential and power, like be the best version of ourselves we can be through that journey of alchemy, of self-alchemy, the alchemical process of working with the shadow, transmuting it as best we can, priming the prima materia, you know, becoming the healthiest, strongest, fittest version of ourselves we can be, the most balanced version of ourselves. And that's a process. I'm still working on it. And I wouldn't say I've arrived, and I don't think any of us have arrived, but I think just having that intention to want to step into your full power and be, you know, this fully bloomed version of oneself, like really harness our talents and our abilities and our mental acuity and all these aspects of who we are, and really, yeah, step into that divine part of who we are. And this was happening in the dream. I was shown this, and this was deep within the, you know, the lockdowns and all that was going on. And because people had got to that level, they started to connect. And at that time, all people could do was connect online, as we know, for the most part. But people were also meeting. This is in the dream, right? So people were meeting in the dream and connecting online, but it was more important that they actually met. And when they met, it was like they were able to transmit what they discovered and learnt and harnessed and cultivated to the other individual who was also doing that path work in their own unique way. They could transmit that back and forth and be able to kind of upskill through each other in a way, like bounce things off each other, ping, ping, ping. And as this happened, I was shown the human codex, you know, the DNA, and it started going from the 2-strand DNA that most of us have now to the 12. And yeah, people were literally kind of activating, for lack of a better word, lighting up. And then I was shown what I was told was kind of like the core of the Earth's template. And this looked like a clock. So it was a clock with 12 points on it. Also, like the astrological wheel has the 12. So the 12 was really emphasized, but the 12 was divided into quadrants. So you had the 4 corners. And in each corner, I was shown the dragons of the 4 directions. So yellow dragon of the east, white dragon of the north, red dragon of the west, black dragon of the south. So there was a dragon on each direction, and then there was the 12 points. And I was shown that these individuals meeting each other all over the world from different destinations hold codes from these 4 dragons and different points in between, like different combinations of those codes. And as certain individuals, you could say template holders, were able to activate one another and themselves, these points on this clock began to light up. And yeah, it took time, but after a while, all of them had lit up from, and I just get shown these people all meeting and all this lighting up going on. And then I'm shown this clock thing and another bit lights up. And once they were all lit up, all the 12 points, it began to spin. And I think there was like a geometry, like a perfect spiral in the middle, or a rodent coil or something like that. And as it spun, it was like, you know, when you turn one of those combination locks that we had on our high school lockers and stuff like that. It was like that. It would turn one way, turn the other way, turn, and then it would open up. And as it opened up, this bit's hard to explain. It was like I was shown the core of the earth, and I was shown the core of our genetic strands as individuals. And it was like a transmission that went from the individuals into this core of the earth, which had opened up this clock, and that began to spin. And as that spun, all this energy began to surge up from this core template clock thing up out into everybody, pretty much. And as it did, it was like everyone just became lit. Like they were just like, it's hard to explain, but I guess coming into full alignment is the best way to explain it. They were just completely activated. And this 12 strand codon thing was happening. We could even go into the 13. I think it was showing that too, the importance of the 12 and the 13, because the center was the 13, because this goes to, you know, even astrology and yeah, the 12 planetary signs of the zodiac, and then you've got Ophiuchus, which is the 13th. So yeah, it's interesting that was taken out. And you can look at what happened with Maldek and how that Phaeton is another word for Maldek, another name, that may have been destroyed, and the asteroid belt is what remains. But that's another topic of conversation I'll cover soon. But yeah, with this dream, I was shown basically this planetary activation going on, and it was astounding. It's ineffable the way to describe the full capacity of what I saw and how potent it was, and how it left me for days just in this state of awe. It actually gave me hope. I know hope can be a funny construct that has been really distorted and used in strange ways, but it left my heart with this content feeling. And it was also around the time I'd been doing a lot of work, learning about the template that we hold, learning about activating the body, learning about the codons and the strands of DNA and these codes, these grid works, all that kind of stuff. So I'd been doing work around that. So when I was shown that, I was just like, wow. And since that's happened in 2020, I've been meeting people, and that's been happening to an extent, maybe not to the full extent that that dream was showing, but it's still early days. And even some of you amazing people I've connected with online, and some of the synchronicities and the activations that have happened. And I feel, yeah, synchronicity is a big one, because that really helps us confirm things, especially when it's a shared synchronicity, which is something I've noticed a lot of as well, where I'll get shared synchronicities with other people, and it's just this one confirmation after the other. If you check out a video, Nick, my friend Nick and I did on Maldek, it's called The Destruction of Maldek. Nibiru and the Destruction of Maldek, I think it's called. It's on BitChute, but that whole video only came to pass because we had these crazy synchronicities around the topic. We started looking into it, and one thing just led to the next, and it was just off its head incredibly. And we were both just there going, whoa, how did we find this information? And yeah, it's hard to explain the synchronicities. You have to watch the video to fully understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, I feel like I'm digressing a bit from the serious dreams that I'm attempting to explain here. So yeah, that was one, and that kind of led into others that I feel are also quite relevant. So I'm just going to shift this song. So yeah, so the next one I had, well, it wasn't the next one, I've had many, but the next one I feel compelled to share happened last year when they were firing up CERN. So yeah, we all know this particle accelerator, as they call it, CERN, named after Cernunnos, the Celtic god, which is interesting. The fact they have Shiva, the destroyer and creator of worlds, out the front of it. Yeah. Anyway, so it was when CERN, they were doing something with CERN and they were powering it up. I think it was last June or July. And I was shown that CERN had ripped open a rift to the abyss. And I was also shown that this wasn't the first rift to the abyss. There'd been rifts open to the abyss within, you know, the whole cosmos for a very long time. Just if you look at galactic history and what's happened with cataclysms and stuff like that, yeah, there's been other events. And going back to Maldek, this could have been a very poignant time when this rift was torn open, or a major rift in our sector of the galaxy, basically. But anyway, with this CERN thing, I was shown that a rift had been torn open here on Earth. And yeah, it was like this gaping hole. And this was before I'd seen that Stranger Things, right? So when I actually watched Stranger Things, some of it I went, and which I don't really approve of. I think it was quite a distorted, creepy version of what's going on. But there's a lot of truth in there, right? And how they open up this rift is very real to what I've been shown in these dreams. I say dreams because there's another one as well that I had. Yeah, this I had this year as well. Anyway, this is hard to explain, this one, but there's a positive side to this. So yeah, there's this rift, and I see these individuals attempting to seal it off, and very similar to the activated individuals I saw in the other dream. These individuals had light, almost like a blue light streaming through them, like surging energy. And this, if you watch Sethicus Bose's videos, he talks about the Humrumya. In one of his recent videos, this is very much what this energy was. The Humrumya was this electric lightning bolt, surging energy. And these people were holding this, like fully like standing tall and aligned, and this energy was just like surging through them. And with that, their eyes were lighting up, even like ice blue, even people that didn't have blue eyes. And it was like they were tapping into the planetary grid system, surging this energy in, and then with that, it was repairing and sealing off this rift. And yeah, that was pretty much a dream I was shown. The first one, not too much detail, but about, I don't know, 6 months ago, I was doing some research looking into CERN. and I was shown a scientific article which spoke about how they believe that during one of those switching ons of CERN or turning up or whatever they want to do when they do it, they tore a hole open with the Earth's magnetosphere. And this was a legit, sciencey article, not pseudoscience as they call it, or conspiracy. It was actually written by a CERN scientist. So that was a little bit of confirmation there of what I've been shown. Of course, they're just like, oh, it's just a hole in the Earth's magnetosphere. But I was shown it was a rift to the abyss. And it's like, what is the abyss? Well, the abyss is very similar to that upside down that they talk about or show in Stranger Things, with these entities coming out, seeping in, this very inverted energy. It's the upside down, it's the inversion of pure creation. I think a lot of what this AI kind of digital gin stuff is very much from that parallel abyss. Yeah, it's not pretty. I think a lot of the distortions and the disturbances within humanity's psyche in terms of the collective is coming through that abyss. That was what I was shown. And then this year, around April, May, I had another dream, very similar. But this time, the situation was a bit more dire. It was quite, I'll say apocalyptic, even though the etymology of apocalypse means to reveal in Greek. So it's more about showing something. So I guess it was an apocalyptic situation because it was showing that a Ragnarok, it was that kind of thing. It was Armageddon, Ragnarok kind of style. Societal collapse. Hectic. It was really hectic. Sounds like a terrible dream, doesn't it? And there was a rift. Once again, this rift, I was shown it again. There were several rifts actually this time, torn open. There's like these big black gaping holes, like Stranger Things. This time I'd seen Stranger Things, but what do they say? Art imitates life, And this time coming out of these rifts were these horrific monster entity alien things that were horrible. They were so ugly. And they had these stomach mouths, like that would extend out with this like mouth on it and like eat people. They were so ugly and so gross. I've later heard accounts of different people seeing these creepy things. So in astral things and stuff like that. Anyway, so there was these creepy stomach mouth monsters and they were devouring lots of people. And there was only some of us left. And we were attempting to fight them. And it was getting pretty tough, trying to fight them with sticks, with fire on the end, and just not having much luck. And we went to one of the rift points because we figured it would be easier to fight them off where they were coming out and stop them from causing any more damage. So yeah, they were coming out, and there I see, standing on the rift, on the precipice of the rift, this wolf. And he's this big white wolf, like huge. And he's almost glowing, and he's got these like blue glowing eyes. And he's sending that same energy, that Humrumiya blue surging electric lightning bolt energy into the grid system, like was shown in the first dream. And then that's repairing the rift, and it was kind of starting to close a little bit. And he's there and he's like, if you don't help me, I'm going to die doing this. And I need you all to get on board. So we all composed ourselves as best we could while we were shooing off these ugly monsters. And we began to connect with this energy, and we began to surge it through our body. And it was like this electric body, like Lightning Man, And some of the people there couldn't handle it, and they actually fried. So I was watching people get fried out. And as we access this energy, we then access the ability to have elemental powers. So that part of it was pretty cool. So as the monsters were coming up now, we could zap them with firepower or blow them away with wind power. I think we had lightning power as well. Water power, Captain Planet with our powers combined kind of thing. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And I think we ended up sealing off that rift and killing the monsters. In the dream, I'm pretty sure the wolf died, but then he came back to life. There was this kind of resurrection thing that happened. And then we had these elemental powers, and we were able to eradicate the rest of the monsters that were there and heal the realm we were in, basically. So I woke up from that one going, holy moly, that was intense. Whew. And it was so intense, I wrote it all down and I sent it to a few different people, as I do, sharing these strange dreams. And then maybe 4 days later, I went to visit my friend, a dear old friend, and she said, oh, I really want to watch this show. Will you watch it with me? And I was like, okay. So we sat down and we started to watch this show, and it's called Shadow and Bone. I've never seen it before, never knew anything about it. And my friend will vouch for me with this. She puts it on, and it's about this dark magician that's made this rift, like abyss thing. And then there's these characters called, I can't remember what they're called, and they have elemental powers. And I'm just like, whoa. And then there's this one girl that's like the sun catcher, and she can hold the power of the sun. So they all have different powers with the elements. But there's a guy that has the darkness, and there's a guy that has the woman that has the sun. And the sun girl can destroy the rift. And the only people that can go through that, I think they're called geishas or something like that. The only people that can go through this rift is the people with these elemental powers. Like everyday people can't, because they get devoured by all the monsters that are in there. So I'm watching this show, I'm just like, whoa, that's my dream. So like I said, art imitates life, and the level of synchronicity with that was just insane for me. And even my friend who was watching it with me said, oh, this is your dream you had. And I read the dream out to her again, and she was like, whoa. So yeah, definitely a big confirmation that there's more to this than just me having weird dreams about rifts and abysses. And I think all of this is showing me something that needs to be transmitted about our raw true power as individuals, what we actually hold, what's actually going on here on a metaphysical level in terms of the energy on the earth right now, the battle of light and dark in that way, and it's not all black and white either. In terms of light and dark, there's many gray areas, but there's also, this parasitic infection that's coming from this abyss. And then there's the true and the original and the organic timeline. And yeah, one more of these dreams I'll just quickly share was just recently I dreamt there were 2 timelines, and they were running parallel to one another. And I was able to move between the 2. And one of the timelines was a Matrix style timeline. So it had surveillance, and it was very much like a smart city with all that. And people were very robotic and very contained and very subservient. And the other timeline was more like the Last Airbender style elemental power, flying, energy work, telepathy, telekinesis stuff. So there were abilities there for individuals. So there were those guys on that side that were all doing that. And then there were those guys over there that were doing that. And I found this collective of us who were able to move between the timeline, and we would go into the Matrix timeline and we'd be able to teach people that if they broke the algorithm of the Matrix timeline. So for example, we have these algorithms, that's how AI predicts what we're going to do next, basically. And they do it to us all day now in terms of this modern society we're in, and what's going on with the Internet of Things and everything. So we were showing them, if you do the opposite to what the algorithm predicts, you'll be able to break into this parallel timeline. So instead of turning left, turn right kind of thing. So we were teaching people this, and then they were able to come into this parallel timeline. But sometimes when we were in there, we'd have these AI bot things come, and they could feel our energy. It was like they had a radar, and they knew that we were there trying to pull people out of that timeline and into the other timeline. So yeah, all of this is kind of symbolic of what's going on, and it's quite literal as well. This is just my view on things, but I've had enough confirmation now to actually know that this stuff's very real, and it's up to you, the viewer, to discern whether or not it resonates. But I just thought I'd share for those of you who may or may not get something out of this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope, you got something out of it. And if you didn't, you probably didn't watch it to this point. Who cares? Cheers, guys.